record on this computer, and I will share my screen. So yeah, currently, okay, so basically we've coded the new breadboard experiment and it's ready to go. And Serena's given the okay to start data collection. So we are, we can start collecting data now. So what I'm hoping to do today in this meeting is to sort of just show you how it works. And I've also, because there's a lot of steps to actually running a game. I've also written out all the instructions, which I'll send to you as well. But I might run a game now and just sort of show you how it works. And then maybe I can get one of you to run a game and I could like share my screen, or you could share your screen and we could sort of talk through it and just work through it step by step. And then I want to work out like a schedule. So what I'm hoping for is that all of you can take like a 4-hour shift at least during the week, because that'll really help me out. Like I'm just going to be collecting data like almost all day, every day, but I will go insane if I never get to like take a break. So if people can like take 4-hour shifts so I can have like some time off from Breadboard, that'd be great. And I feel like that's kind of the minimum that makes it worthwhile, because if people are just doing like 2-hour shifts here and there, there's just like a lot of changeover and we don't get ultimately as many games like run per day. So I guess while we're talking and while I'm demonstrating this to you, maybe if you could like think about what would be like a 4-hour block during the week that would be convenient for you to sort of set aside to be on Breadboard. Does that sound okay to anybody? Is anybody like, I can't really spare for like, and I should clarify for the newer people. So even though it's 4 hours, you're not really working the whole 4 hours. Like, and Mimi and Migs can sort of attest to this. Like once you get used to it, it's really like, you kind of do like
It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you do like 5 minutes of work every 30 minutes. Yeah. So you sort of just start the game and then you go do something else, come back, end the game, start a new game. You don't have to like be there watching them the whole time. But let me sort of show you what it looks like. So I might even log out so I can do this like totally step by step from the start. Let's see. I am recording, right? Oh yeah, I'm recording. This is all good. Okay, so I'm gonna log out. So this is Breadboard. We've set up this new server and it seems to be working fine. I mean, we'll probably get some more technical issues, but at the moment it seems to be going okay. So these are the login details and I'll send them to you. The password is just Breadboard, all lowercase. So we log in and this is what we see. This is basically the main home page or whatever of Breadboard. We have a lot of stuff here, but we don't have to worry about too much of this stuff. Like a lot of the code of the experiment lives in the steps and in the content. So the content pages are like everything we sort of show to participants. And for some reason, I can't scroll down and show you the page. So for example, this was an old content page. I don't think we're even using it. This is like a page where they get an incorrect answer. And so forth. And some are more elaborate than others. And, you know, this, for example, I think is the first page they see when they start the experiment. And then in the steps, there's a lot of the code of the study and how it works. And Migs helped a lot with this. But basically, you guys don't have to worry so much about this stuff because this is all back end. This is what's like sort of making the game work. We just need to run games. So to do that, the first step is we want to make sure that the script engine is refreshed, right? So you can sort of see, if I click on the graph, I can sort of see the players still from the last game. So there's like 3 in the red group, 3 in the blue group. And there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people that tried to join the game. And you can see them in the players window. So we want to just refresh this to make it like clear. So I'm just going to click here, reload the script engine, and you'll see like it's now sort of blank and all good. And so we're ready to go. So the first thing we need to do then is start a new experiment. So we need to think about when exactly the experiment will launch on MTurk, right? So it's currently 10:11 a.m. And I know that it's going to take me a couple of minutes to set up some stuff when I launch the thing. So I'm going to make this game start at 10:20 a.m. And then I'll probably send it to MTurk at about 10:15, and I'll recruit for about 5 minutes. That's what I'm going to aim for. So once we've chosen a time, I'm just going to name this game 23rd of March, and then just give the time. So 10:20 a.m. And I want everybody to sort of, whenever your launch time is, that's going to make it the name of the game. And we also have to change this start init to be 10:20 a.m. And that's all we have to worry about here. We don't have to worry about anything else, just the name and the start time. And then click create. So far, I've basically started a game, but I haven't sent that game to MTurk to recruit people yet. So to do that, what we need to do is go to AMT, Amazon Mechanical Turk. And then when we're here, we need to switch to production mode. So there's two modes, developer mode and production mode. And we need to switch to production mode. And you can see I currently have $1,026 in my MTurk account. If that gets too low, we won't be able to launch new games. So if it gets too low, you just need to send me an email and I can put more money in the account. When we're in AMT, when we're in production mode, we need to go to create hit, and we need to fill out all this stuff. So in the instructions, I'll give you everything to fill it out with, but for now, I'm just gonna go to the last game that I ran and just grab the hit title, which is interactive experiment starting at exactly, and I need to change this to 10:20 a.m. And then I'm going to grab the description as well. And every time you do this, you're going to need to just change the time. So here we've got the time in two places. And this is just sort of the instructions that people read on MTurk. Although just, between us, I don't think many MTurkers actually read those instructions before they grab the hit. Okay, so I've got the title, I've got the description. We need to change the reward to $2, which is just the base pay. They actually get more than that with bonuses. We change max assignments to 30. We put in just academic study here. And we uncheck this box, start init step automatically. We don't want that to happen. And the rest of this stuff we leave alone. So this is all fine. Now we need to add a qualification. So the first one is we need locale equal to, and then we click plus, and then we add US, and then click, oh, no, actually we don't need to add that. And then actions guarded, discover, preview, and accept, and add. And there actually should be another qualification, which should be MIGS.8 participant. Does not exist. Discover, preview, and accept. So this is ideally what we will have eventually, but I'm not doing that step right now because for some reason I'm having technical issues with that qualification. So that qualification was just to sort of stop people who had played the game before playing again, because this block previous players is not fully effective. And it's a bit complex, but some MTurkers sort of hide their ID from Breadboard when they log in. Yeah, I don't know, like basically the creator of Breadboard had to create a new way of blocking repeat players because this guy wasn't totally effective. But don't worry about that. If I change anything, I'll let you know. And in the instructions, I've just kind of highlighted in yellow that other qualification. So we're not doing that yet. Hopefully we will do it eventually. So this all looks good to go. Oh, actually, so there's one more thing we have to think about. Okay, so I said the game's gonna launch at 10:20. It's now 10:16. So we need to think about how long it's actually gonna be on MTurk in seconds. And we need it to sort of, we need this is 180 seconds. We need it to sort of run out before 10:20. So if it was like 10:15 and you could put it on for like maybe 4 minutes, which would be like 240 seconds. So you have to do a bit of quick maths in your head, but I don't want to wait too long. I want to make sure I create this hit now. And so after I've hit create hit, it's been sent to MTurk, and it's going to be live on MTurk for only 180 seconds. And for the people who worked on the last experiment, that might not seem like much, but I'm finding that that's all we need. So when we ask for 30 assignments, I'm even with having it only on MTurk for 180 seconds, I'm getting plenty of players. So it's good. I think the shorter time that people have to wait before the actual experiment starts, the better. Because we did have a lot of people in the past who would sort of click on the link, join the game, and then they would see, it's not going to start for 10 minutes. And then they would just leave. And they would be sort of taking up a spot that could have been filled by somebody else. But yeah, so we would get no data from that person, and they'd get like replaced by a bot instead of like, yeah. So you can see I've already got 5 players join the game, and I just sent it to MTurk. Okay, so now I've sent it to MTurk. You can see if you click on players, you can see the people join. If you click on the graph, you can also see their vertexes, I think we call these, as they join the game. And it's max 6 players, right? So now we've got a totally full game, and hopefully they all hang out for 3 minutes until the start time. But you never know. Like a lot of the time, I think MTurkers are just sort of looking at all these hits come in, they click on things, they decide to do it, they don't decide to do it. And so like anytime you want to see where a player is up to, you can just sort of click on them. And if you scroll down, you can sort of see what they're looking at. So when people join the game, this is what they see. It's just a timer warning telling them, the game's going to start at 10:20 a.m. And this is why we have to set that start init part. And you can still see like, so somebody else just joined, right? So this player here cannot join the game because they were the 7th person. So they're just currently being told, sorry, you didn't get in. All the places were full, and they won't be able to do the game. But these 6 hopefully are looking at this and thinking, okay, I can wait until 10:20, and then I'll take part in this. So yeah, what else? Okay, the really crucial thing, and the only thing that can really go wrong from your point of view for you guys, is if you don't start the game at 10:20, right? So we've like told these people, this game's going to start at exactly 10:20. And if something happens, like, I don't know, if your dog eats some chocolate, or like, I don't know, you start listening to a good song, or I don't know, you need to go to the bathroom and it's taking a long time, or like if for some reason we don't start the game, that's when I get these super angry emails. And that's when I need to like spend a lot of time sort of on MTurk creating compensation hits to just pay people to like try to keep them happy. So the crucial thing, and for me, I always need to set an alarm. And I haven't set an alarm right now because I'm talking to you guys, and I don't think you'll let me forget like to start it at 10:20. But I can get it distracted really, really easily, right? If I just like start doing something else. Okay, so it's 10:20 now, so I'm going to start it. And for this one, I don't know why, but we need to click start init step twice. So I'm going to click start init step twice. And now they're in the game and they've started. So the first thing that they see, there is this screen. The experiment has started. Please click next to continue. And this makes me worried, right? Because this person has now been like, this person might have left basically. If they have not moved on like straight away when they're looking at this, they definitely might have left. But you can sort of see the other people, they're now moving through the experiment. They're getting the ranking task instructions. And this is kind of the new experiment, and this will be new to like a lot of you. Basically what we're doing is we're giving people this ranking task. And what the ranking task is like, they get, they have to answer 6 questions, 3 English questions and 3 maths questions. But their questions are not the same as other players, right? So we have created these 6 different sets of 6 questions that have different levels of difficulty. And they just sort of get randomly given like the easiest questions or the second easiest questions or the third easiest questions. But how well they do depends not just on like their luck, but also on their skill. So even if you get the hardest questions, if you're very good at English and maths, you can still do well, and vice versa. Even if you get easy questions, you can still do badly. So it's almost like what we're trying to do is create like mini societies, right? So like in a similar way to life, different people are born with different levels of advantage and disadvantage. So this is like being randomly assigned more difficult task or an easier task, but people still get a chance to um, have some mobility based on like their starting position, right? Like, so even if you face a lot of disadvantage, if you like work sufficiently hard or you have sufficient talent, you can probably do better than where you started. And then it's sort of up to people of sort of how they kind of interpret that ambiguous combination between luck and talent, or like external factors and internal factors. So this person's moving through, this game's actually moving through pretty fast, which is great. So they've got their first English question, and Migs did a great job finding these questions. They're actually like SAT questions or practice SAT questions, Migs.
They're actual SAT questions, like from actual papers.
Yeah, cool. And so we've sort of arranged them such that, the easiest questions have been sort of classified as easiest by the ETS, but also we got some pilot data on how MTOKers did on these questions. And so we've sort of ranked these question sets based both on the ETS rankings of the questions and our own pilot data. So people are still joining the game, which is pretty frustrating because like we do say pretty clearly in those instructions, you cannot join the game after 10:20, and we've still got like a lot of people joining the game. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, but it's just like, I do get emails from people saying, hey, I've tried to join this game 10 times and I can't get in. And it's like, well, yeah, tried to explain how it works, but yeah. So it looks like everybody is going okay. This person's still in their first English question. I mean, they might have dropped out. We do get people like, because they're MTOKers, right? Like they don't owe us anything. They can choose whether they want to do the task or not, whether it's worth their time or not, and I can understand people getting up to like say these maths questions and just being going like, I don't want to do maths. This is a pain in the butt. So this person's already finished all their questions. And I'm not, oh no, they haven't. This is actually AI. So if you see AI 1, this person has been replaced by AI. So I don't know where they dropped out. It might have been at the very start. I'm not sure. But this person's basically, if they drop out, because we need 6 players, they get replaced by a bot that just sort of goes through the survey, just choosing things randomly. And the bots don't have to answer the multiple choice questions. They just get given a score. So this person's doing good. They got 2 out of 3 English questions. Now they're up to the maths questions. Let's just see how many people are still kind of here with us. This person looks like they already finished all the questions and they did pretty good. So DAB, that's no. So Q1, no, that's correct. That's correct. And then it goes ABC. So I guess they got 2. No, Q score is 3. Let me think. Oh no. Oh, so I guess they got 5 and 6. So they did pretty good. They got 3 out of 6. Q score means question score. But like, yeah, when you guys are actually doing this, you definitely don't need to watch people go through the experiment like I'm doing now, right? I mean, I would always keep the tab open because that's going to save you time. Basically, when you like create your new experiment, when you run your next one, as long as you haven't sort of navigated away from this page or refreshed the web page, the information from the previous experiment, like all this stuff, is going to automatically be there. So that's going to save you a lot of time when you start your next game. So I would always keep the tab open, but you can always like go check your emails, work on an assignment, work on like, this is a paper I'm writing, and then just sort of come back in 20, 25 minutes to finish the game. So yeah, like I think for me, like when I launch a new experiment or when I started doing this, I really wanted to sort of watch them go through it. But after a while, you'll notice you'll just get far more comfortable with it, and you'll just sort of be like, yeah, I know what it looks like when they're working through it. I don't need to watch them. I'm just going to start the game, and then I'll come back later, and everybody will be finished. And weird stuff does happen. Like sometimes you'll notice like you might come back to it, and it looks like it's kind of frozen. Like you might like be trying to like look where somebody is, or like click on their circle here to sort of see where they're up to. um, if that happens, I would recommend just refreshing the page, because that sometimes like stops it being frozen sometimes. And like um, yeah, the software's not perfect is what I'm trying to say. Like weird bugs do just pop up, and we just have to do the best we can. Like for example, this morning I got an email. I can actually even show you the email. So this worker was basically, I noticed somebody got all the way to the end of the experiment, and was just at the demographics phase, which is the very last stage, and got dropped for being idle. So like that just was so weird that somebody would go through like half an hour of work and then just get dropped just when we're asking like gender and age and stuff like that. So I kind of had the suspicion that something had gone wrong. So this person said there was an error at the end of the study. I was putting in my demographics and my computer shut off, turned it back on, and the Chrome page had me restore it. And I think my data was lost. Um, so this kind of stuff, it's fine, right? Like, because this person contacted me, like there's definitely sometimes they're just, this person was very, very reasonable about it, but sometimes they just send me these really angry emails, but it's fine. Like we can sort of look through the data, we can figure out what happened. Um, and to a large extent, you guys don't really have to worry about this, because I like all the emails are going to come straight to me. But every so often, like you'll be working and I'll get an email, and I might contact you and say, hey, like, did something weird happen in the 11:30 game, or did you notice anything weird? And it's even fine if you didn't, right? Because like we do have the data, like, and the data sort of goes moment to moment, sort of recording everything that happens in the game. So we can see when players get dropped. We can sort of see like, we can see like how much money they had earned to the point where they got dropped. So we can, yeah, sort out all these things. But basically, yeah, like if something weird happens, like just don't freak out. Like refreshing is always good. Um, I think it'll be, every now and then, like you might have a game where all the players get dropped out, right? So you're looking through all these circles, and sort of the data is telling you here. So this is the data for each participant, and if we go up, you can see like active true, and we should see dropped false, right? So dropped false means they're still in it, right? But if you had all your players and it said dropped true, you could just stop the game and start a new one, and that would be fine. Um, yeah, so these people are currently working through these questions. So they've been given their ranks, and now they're just answering questions about the ranking procedure. They go through 9 of these questions. This one is like asking them to guess like what, how easy is easy? Like what is the average percentage correct, do you think, for the easiest questions, right? And this is interesting to us as psychologists, because they don't really know, right? Like everybody gets their own questions, either the hardest or the easiest, but they don't really know how different other people's questions were. So we're just interested in the sort of assumptions that people are making about sort of other people's questions, the assumptions that they're making about other people's interpretations, and sort of what it does to those assumptions, because we are sort of manipulating and sort of playing around with basically the inequality that based on the ranks, right? So in some games, the first ranked player is given much more wealth than the 6th ranked player. In other games, it's much more contracted distribution, right? So sometimes there's only 50 wealth points, which is only like, wait, how much, like it's not much at all. It's like 10 cents or 20 cents difference between the top and the bottom. In other games, it's like $3 difference between the top and the bottom. So we're really interested in like how that manipulation of inequality affects the way they sort of think about the process that produced the ranks, the process that produced the inequality. Um, and so you'll sort of see, like, you can sort of see like all the questions that we're asking them and the stuff that we're interested in. But then, okay, so now they're moving on to the allocation task, and this is where we're going to measure their in-group bias, right? So we basically split them into a high wealth group and a low wealth group, and then we get them to do this what's called a minimal group task, where they're just deciding, they get pairs of other participants, and then they get to just decide how many points to give to each of them. And in our past experiment, we found that the low wealth group showed more in-group bias than the high wealth group, so they were more sort of favoring the in-group with their allocations. But that also depended on how we justified the inequality to people. So but this experiment's slightly more different in that we really are interested in the effect of just the overall inequality, not sort of how it's justified, because we're sort of assuming everybody can sort of like project their own justification onto the inequality, and we expect that like where people are ranked, how much disadvantage they started with is all going to play a role into sort of how they think about the relative fairness or unfairness of the income distribution or the ranking process itself. But we also sort of like just interested in, how the overall inequality of the sort of wealth distribution plays a role in how they respond in terms of in-group bias as well. So this person's still just doing a comprehension check. So this is what they're sort of like in the example below. If you choose option E, participant 5 will get blank, participant 3 will get blank. So they just have to tell us, look at that table and show us they can understand the information. Okay, so now they're into the allocation task, and they are going to go through 20 rounds of this. So this game is moving pretty fast. Started at 10:20, it's now 10:33. Hopefully nobody drops out in the allocation task, so we get them all through to the end. And I think we probably dropped one player, but most of them are still with us. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see dropped. Maybe this guy. Yeah, dropped false. That's good. Dropped false. Dropped false. So most of them are still with us. Dropped false. Dropped false, and dropped true. So we still have 5 out of 6. So we're doing pretty well. And yeah, so they're gonna keep going through. Hopefully they don't take too long. It really depends, though. I mean, as the people who worked on this last semester know, like some games take forever just because one player is really slow. So if you have just one player in the game who really wants to pay really close attention and study these like allocation tables and make a really like they're really taking it seriously, which option they choose, it's just going to slow down the whole game for everybody. But there's just not much we can do about that. And we basically, like when we're recruiting people, we're telling them, it could take 20 to 30 minutes. I'll even show you. So in the consent form, where is it? In the consent form, we say, the experiment should take 20 to 30 minutes. This is just an estimate. The experiment duration will depend on how quickly you and other participants respond. And we say you are guaranteed a minimum take-home pay of $2, but you have a chance to earn more in bonuses. The maximum you can earn is approximately $6. Your responses, yada, yada, yada. So this is just a consent form. God. 3 minutes on MTurk, and look how many people tried to join. It's going a little crazy, and I wonder if it's partly related to the coronavirus, because I think maybe a lot of people are like relying on MTurk a bit more for some supplementary income right now. I don't know. I mean, this is, I guess like as soon as what we used to do was say max assignments 9, because that actually reduces the MTurk fee. You only have to pay a 20% fee to MTurk if you recruit only 9 players. If you go over 9, that fee becomes 40%. So we wanted to save money, so we were doing max assignments 9. But we got to a point where it was just really, really hard to recruit people when we were only doing max assignments 9. But as soon as we took it up to like 30, we started just recruiting like a lot of players into every game. So we've decided that it's worth it basically to pay that extra fee to get full games of participants, because it kind of sucks if you are like spending 30 minutes just to get one participant, say, or two participants. It makes data collection very slow. So this is going well. I think I don't know what round we're up to. 11 of 20. Yeah. What else? Okay, so I'd like, maybe we can do it now. I might make a Google sheet for us to sort of create a schedule of when people can sort of log on and be collecting data. Maybe if and I guess if anybody has a strong preference. Okay, so I've got a message from a worker. Let's see. Why did you reject it? Okay. Yeah, so this is crazy. So like this was the compensation. This is the compensation here I created for that one specific worker, Tiffany. And now I've got Frank emailing me saying why, like, because basically I have to post them publicly. And like MTurk workers, like they just sign up. They want like they want this compensation hit, but they like there's no reason why they would have expected to. Yeah, I don't. It's very strange, but this is like insane. Like the world of MTurk, I'm telling you, it's very interesting. Okay, Google Sheets. Let's see. New spreadsheet. I can make it blank. I guess we'll go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then, I need the times, right? Let's go 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 p.m. What time? Yeah, I guess, Migs, it's going to be difficult because you're in India now, right?
But it's like my evening, so it works better. It's exactly 12 hours.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's convenient. Well, you could maybe choose a time.
So I can do like morning shifts. Like I can stop.
Yeah, so maybe I should give more available times then. So that'd be like 8. But I guess you need to do it at some time when there is people on MTurk, right? So
Yeah. So that works.
yeah. I mean, this should be like all these times should be in PST. I assume most of us are still on PST. Mimi, where are you right now?
I'm in Berkeley.
Okay. Will you stay in Berkeley, do you think?
Yeah, probably. I'll let you know if I leave.
Yeah, it's a dynamic situation. Let me just send you guys this link. Okay, MGP2 data collection schedule. All right, share. Get shareable link. Anyone with the link can edit. All right, done. Also, when I rejected that work, you have to give a reason. Maybe they don't see that reason, but I said like this hit was not for you. Let's see. Okay, so this looks good. Okay, so they get this part. Oh shit. A friend of a friend just died in Texas from lung failure.
Oh my god.
Medical worker. God, 36 years old.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, this is crazy.
That's so crazy.
So yeah, like even, is that not fixed yet? Final. See how it said instead of final task, it had capital I there. Let's see if I can find where that's going. Donation. Yeah, so another thing that they do at the end of the experiment is they get a chance to donate some money to another player, like if they think that it wasn't fair or something like that. So far, like it looks like a bit of a failed experiment because like nobody's donating anything. But we did get one person. First time I tried it, they donated like as much as they were allowed to another player, which was interesting.
It's also like the climate that we're in right now. Donation is probably the last thing on people's mind.
Yeah, I could see that going both ways though, right? Like, okay, so this person, yeah, donation percentage is 0, chose not to donate, and it's totally understandable. I was interested to try it. You know, it may come to nothing, but okay, so it looks like they're probably all done. You can sort of click on them. This is the like very last screen that they will see. So if you click on them and they're on that screen, this is like what you see if it was a player that was dropped. So if we scroll up, we should probably see that this person was dropped, active false, dropped true. Yeah. This person looks like they're done. This person done. This person done. This person done. Okay, cool. So the game is basically over, but we need to finish the game. We need to pay them. So we need to go back to AMT, and then we go to manage hits and we refresh it. And we see the new one appeared. And if we just click on it, it sort of opens down and we can see all the 5 players there. Now, every so often, and hopefully this doesn't happen very often at all, but every so often, you should see like 4 players here, but you only see 3 players. And yeah, it's a difficult situation because like when we get to this end of the game part and they're looking at this, they need to hit this button. And if a player doesn't hit the button, or if something goes wrong, we won't see them when we approve the payments. I think when that happens, like as long as you know that they've been staring at this screen for like 30 seconds or a minute, if they honestly haven't hit that button yet, they're probably not going to hit the button. So I would just like end the game, pay the players that are there, and if that player, then they'll probably just email me about it. And that's cool because like I can check in the data for their specific game and I can see, oh yeah, this one player, they didn't get dropped. They got all the way through to the end. But we only approved X many players for the game. So I can just like verify it. And it's kind of time consuming and annoying, but like it doesn't happen that often. So it's not that bad. Okay, so we need to tick all these boxes and click approve 5. And then we need to pay them their bonuses. So we tick all these boxes and grant $11.83. And then we need to tick all these boxes as well. As far as I know, these boxes under completed is for the original block previous players. And this box is for the additional block previous players thing, which we are not yet using, but hopefully we will start using. I've contacted the Breadboard creator about that. So yeah, now we're done basically, and we can stop the game. And I'd say that game was pretty successful, 10:20 to 10:45. So it only took them 20 minutes, a bit more than 20 minutes, and they got a decent pay for MTurk, most of them anyway. So I'm gonna just click stop now, and you'll see everything's been stopped. So now we can start a new one. It's 10:45 now. I guess we've been talking since 10. I would like at least one of you to try it, which will make this meeting probably go like another maybe 20, 25 minutes. But is that okay? Like, does anybody really need to get out of here before 11?
No. I mean, if anything, we could just do the beginning part of it if you think it's going to.
Yeah, I guess that's most of the work. So that's probably a good idea. Cool, cool, cool. So let me stop sharing my screen. Does anybody want to volunteer to sort of drive?
I can do it. But
Mix?
like, probably someone who hasn't done it before.
Yeah, I guess it'd be good, Mai and Angelica, if one of you guys did it. What do you think?
I can do it.
Mai? All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, so do you want to share your screen? Oh, wait, I'm going to log out first. And let me actually just send those instructions through. Or I guess maybe you don't need the instructions just yet because we can just walk you through it. So yeah, do you want to share your screen? Actually, no, I will share the instructions. Hang on. Breadboard, information. Okay. Let's see, attach. Oh, wait. Okay, sending it now. And that will have like the URL and the login details. So it'll come through, I'm sure. It has been sent.
It's here.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So that'll be the URL. And then it's just my email. Sweet. All right. So first step is hit those two circular arrows to refresh the awesome. Cool. So then we're going to go to the plus sign and to create a new instance. And let's aim to launch it at 11 a.m. So just go maybe 23.3.
My computer's dying. Okay. 23.3.
11 a.m. Perfect. And now change the start init to 11 a.m. And now just click create. Bottom right. Awesome. All right, so now scroll down in the bottom left, go to AMT, and then switch to production mode. So see where it says developer sandbox in the top right? Click on switch to production. Awesome. Now go to create hit. Oh, okay, we should actually probably grab the information from the old hits. So if you go to manage hits, just copy and paste that title. And we'll need to change that to 11 a.m. Perfect. And then maybe grab the description and change it to 11 a.m. in both places. Awesome. Okay, so we set the reward to 2. And then we set, so the hit lifetime, we can probably give it like 180 seconds as well if we just wait a bit before we launch it. And then I'd make max assignments in the top right to 30. And then just keywords becomes just academic study. And then we uncheck the start init box. Perfect. And then we just need to add the US qualification. So just go click plus and then locale. And then comparator is equal to. And then click the plus under locales. And then we just type US. Perfect. And then actions guarded, we need to select discover, preview, and accept. Great. Okay, well, it's actually all ready to go, but I wouldn't launch it yet. I would sort of wait till 10:55 and then launch it. And then just because we don't want people to have to wait too long once they click on it before the actual game starts. So we have a few minutes. Has anybody like filled out the thing yet? Oh, you're gonna do 3 hours every day, Mix?
I'm on self-quarantine right now, so this week I can just do as much as you want because I can't leave this room anyways.
But I assume you have other stuff to do.
It's spring break.
Okay. Hey, like, if you're willing to do that, that's awesome.
It's only for this week, so
mm-hmm.
the next week my classes start, so I'll be okay. But this week, yeah, I can.
Okay, great. I mean, yeah, because I probably would, yeah, I wouldn't be collecting data before then. And I think you'll get plenty of like M-Turkers on the East Coast, at least, who are awake during that time. Angelica, yeah, I mean, that's a lot. If you're willing to do that, that's awesome. I mean, you, like I said, like, all I'm asking is 4 hours a week from you guys. But if you can do more and you're willing to do more, that would be great because it lets me get some time off. And the more, you know, the more shifts we have, like the sooner we're going to get the data. Like I do think like so Serena, it's basically how much money we spend, but Serena's kind of said we can spend about 7K. And I think that'll be enough money for us to get about 1,500 participants, which will be like a good amount of data for us to sort of explore and sort of see what happens. Yeah, this project is very much like an exploratory study. Like we are measuring so many things and really just curious about a bunch of things about what's going to happen. But what I'm hoping is that we can sort of explore the data, see if anything interesting really stands out, and then maybe run a follow-up study to be a bit more confirmatory in terms of like, we predict that exactly this will happen, and maybe even pitch that as another registered report. But yeah, we'll see what happens. It's basically like Serena just said to me, we have this funding that we've had available for years and it's going to run out. Can you use it? And so it was sort of convenient. And Migs, you had this kind of idea that you wanted to do for your thesis project anyway, which you didn't get to do. But yeah, anyway, like it all just sort of, okay, so it's 10:55 now. So you might want to just launch the hit. So click create hit. Cool. So that's been sent to MTurk. So now if you go to the players window and maybe the graph window, we can just sort of wait and see if there's players signing up to join, which there probably will be. Like, it's really, I was really surprised, like, because to me, like, when we increased it from 9 to 30, that doesn't seem like that much of an increase, but the creator of Breadboard was saying, like, one thing that happens is that MTurkers sort of use special apps that like grab hits when they appear on MTurk. So one thing that he thinks happens with these, because we, you know, have this special type of experiment where people need to be there at a specific time, if MTurk workers are just grabbing our hits to do later, then they don't end up like doing it, right? Because we need them to be there like at exactly 11 a.m. But if somebody just has some app grabbing the hit so they can come along hours later and do it, nobody ends up in our experiments. So when we were just asking for 9 people, at least what Mark, the creator of Breadboard, thinks was happening is that these apps were just grabbing our hits, and nobody else could, even though there were available workers who wanted to do them, they weren't able to sort of get into the games because they were all sort of taken up by these apps. And I'm not totally sure, but all I know is when we increased it to like asking for 30 players instead of 9, we started just getting far more people joining the games. Nobody yet. I think it's not clear to me how long it actually takes to appear on MTurk, but I'd say we should start seeing some dots appearing pretty soon. Yeah.
Did you already finish your pilot study?
Yeah, we did a pilot study just to check the responses, like the average correct for each of the questions, and it was actually pretty interesting. Like it didn't line up very well with the ETS data. So we only had 30 people do each question, but that's still like a decent sample size. And like we had like, so for example, one of the hardest English questions, like most people got it right. It was like 60% were getting one of the hard English questions right. And some of the easy English questions, we got like 17% correct or something like that. So yeah, it didn't line up very well. So I had to kind of rearrange the question sets a little bit. And the way that they're arranged now is such that, they're progressing from easiest to hardest based on both the ETS rankings, but also our pilot data. So for example, that easy English question that nobody was getting right, we're just not using that, for example. So because it was just like, the ETS is probably right. Like they've done much more testing than us, but I think it's just going to be good for us just to.
Demographic, so.
Yeah, it is a different demographic, exactly. And also just, it'll be nice to just say like, we also piloted them and sort of, we arranged it based on our pilot data and the ETS rankings. And it also doesn't matter that much. Like if we, for example, if the easiest questions look like there's a relatively similar response rate to the second easiest questions, that really doesn't matter that much because we are sort of studying is like the assumptions people make about them. And nobody really knows how difficult anybody else's questions were, right? So they only know what we've told them about the ranking. Yeah. Anyway, I think it'll be fine. The main thing is like the inequality manipulation. What effect does that have? Cool. So we got 3 players. We might not have a full game, so we might get to see like the bots join the game. So basically, if we don't get 6 players before 11 a.m., we're just going to start it anyway, and we will get computer bots created to fill those other spots. So that'll be fine. And then like I'd be willing to bet like we'll get a bunch more people try to join the game. Okay, so it's 11 a.m. now, so we can start it. So double click start init step. Excellent. And now if you click on one of those players, you should be able to see them move through the game. So I think that's one of the bots. So they'll look a bit different. But if you click, so you can click on those numbers, those 3260 over on the, So if you scroll down, this person might have vanished because that's the very first screen. This person's working through it at least. Cool. So now, I guess we probably don't need to, watch them go through the whole game. I might stay on with you though.
Okay.
To get you through like to the end of the game, because it's your first time. But everybody else is good. I guess Angelica, if you haven't done it yet, so like if you want, we could Zoom and I could sort of like watch you do your first game or two. But that would be up to you.
Oh yeah, that's okay with me. I'm not doing anything right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, Migs and Mimi, if you want to like just sign off and then start doing your shifts when it's time, that's
Okay.
cool with me.
Stay safe, everyone. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
Stay healthy.
Are we gonna have like weekly calls to check in, or are we just doing it through email now?
Yeah, let's do that. I think that's a good idea.
Right? We used
Because
to have
there's
weekly.
always, yeah, even if it's really short, I think that'd be a good idea. So like maybe this time would be good again next week to talk.
Yeah, just because I might have to change my schedule next week a little bit. So just in case we need it all coordinate.
Cool. Yeah,
Cool. Perfect.
fair enough.
Have fun with the experiment.
Cool.
Bye.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody, too, for your help with this. It's great. All right. Okay, so I think that person got dropped. Well, if that, yeah, the first player got dropped. That's a shame, but we've still hopefully gonna get 3 of them through it. So yeah, so this is a player that was unable to join. What I've started doing is mainly just clicking if you see over on the graph window, some of them are like lighter gray, some of them are darker gray. The darker gray ones are the ones that are the actual players who got into the game. So, and that one's a bot, that one's a real player. So they should be seeing the begin button. I'm a bit worried. If you click on all of them, maybe there's somebody still looking through those instructions. And you can sort of zoom out on that. Oh, that's weird. So that's a bot. I think that's fine. So if you do, okay, that dropped. Yeah, so you can, yeah, it's a bit sensitive. All right. Okay, so this person's still going through the instructions, but they might have left, right? So like, I don't know. This is weird. Let's just watch this person for a while because I think, oh no, they're still going. They're still going. That's okay. Okay, great. So they're finally through and everybody can begin. Wait, how did this person get to the maths questions already? Oh, this is weird.
Oh, this is the bot.
Oh, that's
Or
the bar. Yeah. That makes sense, actually.
What is the account minimum balance where it doesn't let you play?
Oh, good question. I guess it's like, so we ask for 30 and we say that our minimum pay is going to be 2. But the MTurk fee is 40%. So the MTurk fee would make from $2 would be 80 cents. So I guess the minimum balance that MTurk will allow us to launch the game would be $2.80 times 30. So I guess, yeah, like $90-ish, 80 to $90. Yeah. It's weird though, because when you run a game, and you say you want 30 players, MTurk sort of freezes some money. So you'll notice that like you'll run a game and you might pay out like $25, but the available balance will jump down by about $100. And then like every so often you'll just see it jump back up for no apparent reason. And that's just because MTurk does this thing of sort of freezing your funds just to make sure if it needs to sort of step in and compensate people, it can. So it's very interesting. Like, yeah, if you just come on and you're just running game, you can take the balance down from like 1,000 to like nothing very, very fast. And then like a day later, it'll sort of jump back up to like 800. So it's very weird. And I'm expecting you will probably have to email me quite a bit and just say, MTurk didn't let me start the game. The balance is down again. And yeah, so last semester I was adding like $300 at a time. but that's just too tiresome. And I just think that like the main reason I was doing that is because I was just worried that somebody was going to like give somebody like $1,000 bonus or something like that, and I was just going to lose on them. But I don't really think that's possible. So I think this semester I'll just be adding like larger sums, so I don't have to worry about it as often. But yeah, we'll see. It should be fine though. But I think yeah, if it gets like below 100, you should contact me because I think it'll probably stop you launching new games. And you can always change that assignments, right? Like if you had like $90, you could easily start a game and ask for 20 players, right? Because it would let you do that. It wouldn't let you ask for 30. So yeah, if you're contacting me and I haven't responded, that could be something you can do. Or you can just say, there wasn't enough money, like I can't do my shift, and I go take a walk and I take a break, which is totally fine as well. All right, so this person, they're still with us, I believe. They're on their third English question. They got a timer. So you see how it says timers, squiggly brackets on the bottom player? That means that their countdown timer did start at one point, but I don't think it ran out because I don't think they're dropped. You could check if you scroll all the way up to the top. And that says dropped false. Yeah, so they're still with us, which is good. I'm going to check if I have any more MTech emails. No more, so that's good. How's your quarantine going, Mai?
It's good. I mean, I'm going a little stir crazy just being inside all day.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fine. How about you?
Yeah, same. I mean, I spend a lot of time working from home already and inside, but just yeah, there's something about not being able to like see other people at all that even me as an introvert, like I start to really crave. I just want to see my friends and coworkers and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, like I'm a huge homebody as well. Like if I can stay at home, I'll stay at home. But it's like the fact that I can't leave, that's like that restriction and like that psychological constraint. It's like, I think that's the extra added step that makes me go a little crazy. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't go outside. Yeah.
It's such a shame that like this happened right when you were about to start like going to Serena's lab and getting more involved too. Like, did you get to go to any labs?
Yeah, we had one lab meeting, and Vanessa presented on her, like, love and close relationships, like, what's it called, authenticity.
Okay.
Yeah, so at least we had one. I wonder if Serena will move to Zoom for the additional lab meetings this semester.
Yeah, I was curious about that too. She hasn't said anything. I know DACA's labs have just been cancelled. This is my other advisor for the rest of the semester. And I'm kind of expecting Serena to do the same just because she now has to take care of her kids all day on top of a lot of responsibilities as an advisor and a lecturer. So yeah, even though she hasn't said anything, my assumption is she'll probably just call off the lab meetings for the rest of the semester.
That makes sense. That sucks though.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just check on our players and okay, so we're up to the ranks. This is good.
This person, that's a bot.
Okay, so
Oh.
now, yeah, comprehension check. We just sort of ask them if they can remember the most wealth or the least wealth from that table. And this is worth noting. So like, notice how like they get these multiple choice questions, but we don't actually see the multiple choice options. We just see the submit button. So yeah, there's like, it's kind of like a different kind of code where like those multiple choices are attached to this HTML object that's in the steps code. Like when what we're looking at are those content pages. So like there's a lot of stuff that the participants see that we don't actually see. So it's really like we can sort of look here to, most of the time we can see where they're up to in the experiment, but we can't see exactly what they see.
Got it.
Yeah, so this wealth distribution is like sort of medium and equal. So there's like 4 different wealth distributions you'll see. So one of them goes from this one goes from 500 to 450. Another one goes from 850 to 800. Another one goes from 150 to 100. And then the unequal one goes from 850 to 100. So we have sort of equal high, equal middle, equal low, and then unequal. And really, I would have liked to have more, like, you know, really sort of mix it up. But like after a while, it just gets a bit too complex. But I think at least these 4 will allow us to differentiate between what kind of responses are being driven by inequality versus just being driven by how much money they have, right? So because you can be wealthy in an unequal distribution, or you can be wealthy in an equal distribution, and you can be relatively high. So like, yeah, I'm interested, like, so somebody can have 850 in a distribution where the lowest person has 100, but they can also have 850 in a distribution where the lowest person has 800, right? So like, what difference does that sort of make to how they think about the game and think about the distribution and the ranking process and stuff like that? Yeah, because otherwise,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, like so originally we just had 850 to 100 versus 550 to 500, or yeah, and then it creates a problem because if you notice the person with 850 behaving a particular way, it's ambiguous whether that's to do with the distribution being unequal or it's to do with just them having more money than other people. So it's a sort of like, this way we can control for wealth and try to look at the effect of inequality controlling for wealth.
Mm. Did you ask anything about whether they thought like the distributions were fair? Like
Yeah, we do at the end. They answer one question, and we weren't sort of looking when they did it in the last game, but they answer one question, which is just like, how fair do you think the distribution is overall on a slider? And then they answer 3 thermometer questions, which is like, how warm or cold do you feel towards like all the other players? And then how warm or cold do you feel towards the red group? How warm or cold do you feel towards the blue group? Yeah, and there's a lot of potential outcomes that we're measuring, and there's probably more that we could have, but I'm wary of including too much in a study for participants because there's already quite a lot in this. So yeah, I would have liked, in a perfect world, I would like present in lab when I'm developing this and just get everybody's input on what they think would be cool or what might happen or what we should measure and stuff like that. But in this case, I was only really able to talk to Serena about it.
Yeah. And yeah, you were on a timeline too.
Yeah, it was really right. It was.
Yeah, when you told me that there were some server issues, that's why I couldn't launch. I was like, oh no, and his timeline's May.
Yeah, it was really, it was stressful because it was like, not only was I like rushing to try to get the thing coded, that server issue just came out of nowhere. Like this guy just retired. So we were using this server in the demography department that they had built specifically for Breadboard. And I had no idea, but like it just stopped working one day, and it was working perfectly. And just one night it just stopped working and I couldn't access it. So I sent an email to the guy who was maintaining the server, and he had just retired. And so like, yeah, somebody else was like, yeah, you probably can't use it anymore. And that was just, it was such a headache to, basically I needed to, well, Mark, so the creator of Breadboard helped me a lot with it. And we zoomed a couple of times, and he was sort of like, I shared my screen and he was just telling me exactly what to do. But yeah, like I had to like get a new domain name, pay for a server, like pay for a like security certificate, which I'm still not even sure what that really is, but it's sort of like something to do with secure data security or something like that. And then like install this, and I'm like doing all this stuff in terminal, like connecting to this server and putting stuff on the server, and yeah, just all this stuff that I'm just not comfortable with at all. But so far so good. I like, it seems to be working, so like knock on wood, we can just rush and get all the data we need and not worry about it. All right. This game's going well. So we launched at 11. It's now 11:17. I guess it's not the fastest game in the world because they're only up to round 4. It's already 11:17. They'll definitely finish within the 30 minutes though, unless something terrible happens.
Yeah.
Generally, the fewer players you have, the faster the game goes, but it doesn't always work like that, I guess.
Yeah. Do you find that having the bots do random like allocation stuff affect like the behavior of your?
No, not at all, because so it's a good question, and we were a bit concerned about that, but the thing that prevents the bots being an issue is that the players really don't know who is allocating wealth to them, right? They only know who they're allocating wealth to. So even if a player's wealth, like, so say in round 4, my wealth jumps up by a lot. I don't know why, right? And it's easy for me to just assume, oh, well, maybe I had my team members gave me that money, or, and I mean, the matrices that they're allocating from all kind of differ too. So there's really no reason that the bots, even if they're making random allocations and allocating very little wealth to somebody or a lot of wealth to somebody, it's not that different to if real players are doing it, right? So we actually tested for if there was an effect of like a number of bots on like in-group bias, and we found like nothing, like no effect at all. So I think it's okay. Basically, I just think people can rationalize, and I also don't think they're probably like looking at their wealth round to round very closely. They're just sort of, I don't really know. I mean, my guess is people move through these allocations fairly quickly. Like we do get a strong signal of in-group bias. Like people on average allocate about 60% of the total wealth allocated to the in-group when it's a decision between in-group and out-group. So there's definitely a signal there, but I think there's also a lot of people just clicking and just trying to get through to the end of the study.
That makes sense. Yeah. And if there is a strong in-group bias, they're making these decisions pretty quickly too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can choose pretty easily if you do want to favor the in-group, for sure. What round are they up to now?
They're on their 13th round.
Cool.
Is your wife also working from home?
Yep. Yeah, our dog's really happy right now. Although I definitely think it has disturbed our dog's sleep patterns. Because I think she has this routine where, you know, on the weekends she spends more time with us and we go for like long walks and stuff like that. We take her places. But during the week, it's normally just she'll either be home alone or she'll be home just with me and she'll just nap. So she's really like, she sees us both here every day and she just thinks it's like the weekend, I think, like every day, and she doesn't want to nap. Like she thinks, no, you're both here, we should be doing stuff. And then she just like tires herself out, gets grumpy. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. Like it's good to, I think it's good during this to be in a couple.
I think so too. Yeah, 'cause I can't imagine like isolation alone. Like truly, like you would truly be socially alone, which is sad, which is really, really sad. And I guess like living in the Bay and living in San Francisco, a lot of times people have roommates, and I guess this is where it comes in handy. Like if you're in quarantine, like at least you have roommates.
Yeah. Do you have roommates or do you live with a partner?
I live with my partner. Yeah, he tells me, because he usually works from home on Fridays. And so now that he works from home every day, it's like he feels like every day is the weekend. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Like I almost feel the opposite. Like every day's a work day because on the weekends it's so limited what you can actually do. And I'm just like, we end up just staring at each other going like, what should we do? And I'm like, well, I have plenty of work to do. So it just passes the time just to like do research.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I was like kind of like the spring break. I was like, well, at least I'll get to do some research since a lot of since I have to stay inside now.
Yeah. And you could, you could potentially start like working on an R script to clean this data. Because the data just comes in game by game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like it's different in a lot of ways to the past data that we had, but it's also similar in a lot of ways too. So I think like the old data cleaning script that we had will just really need to be adapted for the kind of new data names and stuff that we have. If you click on a few of these players, I think we're probably almost getting to the end for a lot of them. They're probably both dropped. Here we go. This person's deciding on a donation. So like I could send you the data files and the old script and you could play around with it, and we could like, if you come up to things that you can't, like problems that you can't solve, we could Zoom about it and stuff like that. So that could be a good way to like practice your R and stuff.
I'd really like that. Yeah. So yeah, you can send me that whenever.
Cool. Actually, that'd be great because if there are problems with the data, it'd be great to know now. Like, I think it's okay, all okay. And I went through it with Serena, but like, yeah, if we do the data cleaning, it's possible we discover, we are not collecting data for this really important aspect. So, yeah.
Okay.
You chose not to donate. Yeah, nobody's donating. I think it was, this was
if they donate, it takes out from like their actual payout, right? And like if they're using mTurk this time, that.
Yeah, totally. I wonder if we made it so like if you donate, we double the money, right? So like if I donate 10 cents, I lose 10 cents, but that other player is going to gain 20 cents. So you sort of, it would almost be like what's that economic game called? It's like Prisoner's Dilemma, right? So if everybody cooperates, they could all increase their pay. But if one person chooses not to cooperate, so it's almost like that would be interesting to see if that changed it, but next time.
Another 1500.
All right, cool. So this person's almost done. I think this is the last question, and then they're going to get to the debriefing. I doubt they'll read it. Let's see. Yeah, they did not have time to read it. But, I mean, okay, 11. It took exactly 25 minutes for them to get through it. And I guess it's a bit longer than that because they have to wait for it to start and stuff like that. But not much we can do about that. Okay, so if you just click around on all these dots, and hopefully they'll all either be on this screen or the please wait screen. Yeah, that one was dropped, that one was dropped, that one was dropped, and then the other blue was dropped. Okay, so we only got 2 players, but that's still okay. So if you go to AMT in the bottom left, and then scroll up and go to manage hits in the top left, and then if you hit refresh over there on the right, and then we click on the first one, the 11 a.m. game, we should see 2 of them waiting to be approved. Cool. So if we click approve, and then approve 2, great. And then bonus, and then grant $3.99. And then we click completed and assign qualification. Sweet, and that's done. And so now you can just stop the game with the stop button right at the top. Cool, and you would be ready to start a new game. Yeah, so that's all. I mean, this is going to be a long video. This has been like a 1.5 hour meeting, but yeah, I guess I'll share it on YouTube, send you guys the link, and you have the instructions. Angelica, how do you feel about all this? Do you think, like, when you do your first shift, and I don't know when that's going to be, but I guess tomorrow at 4 p.m., do you want to Zoom then? And like, so I can just sort of watch and help if need be through the first game or 2?
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
Okay, cool. Let's do that then. And for you, you haven't chosen a shift yet, but you will?
Yes, I will after this call.
Cool. All right, well, that's it. Yeah, and we'll talk every Monday at 10, just to check in. We might not need to every single week, but yeah, I think it's good. It'll be good. Just to sort of, I'll be able to tell you guys about all the angry emails I've received, and we can laugh together or cry together, and yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. So if you stop sharing your screen, I think I can stop recording. Oh, I think I can stop now. Anyway.
Okay.
All right. And yeah, I'll share this. I might even put a link to it in the instructions and resend. Yeah, cool. Thank you guys again so much, and stay safe, stay inside. I do think we should be wearing masks if we go outside. I don't know, like, people are skeptical of their effectiveness, but like, I've also seen some other people talk about, well, the countries where everybody wears the masks are the countries doing the best at this. So it might indicate, correlation is not causation, as you know, Angelica from 101. But still, I do think they serve a purpose, just in terms of reminding everybody around you that it's a pandemic, and making people just keep their distance. And because, hey, like, I think, like, if people see you with the mask, they might think you have it, and that's ideal, because they'll stay away from you.
Yeah, plus it reminds you not to touch your mouth so much.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So they can be effective in different ways, but yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna stop the video.